What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're just going to get straight into it. Now, Raw is showcasing Randy Orton 20 years anniversary of wrestling for the WWE. Now, before we continue, we just want to go over his accomplishment in the WWE so far. And I also want to talk about my favorite feuds from him as well. Okay, on April 25th, 2002 was when he first debuted. He's a 14-time world champion, first ever WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He is the youngest World Heavyweight Champion. He's a one-time United States Champion. He's a one-time Intercontinental Champion. He's got the most matches in pay-per-view history. He's a two-time Raw Tag Team Champion, a one-time SmackDown Tag Team Champion with Bray Wyatt, by the way, a one-time World Tag Team Champion. He is a Grand Slam Champion. He's a two-time Royal Rumble winner 2009 and 2017. He is a Money in the Bank winner. He got the most matches in Monday Night Raw history. Now, I do want to talk about some of my favorite feuds from him, and that is... So with that being said, one of my favorite feuds was, actually this was a short feud, it was Randy Orton versus Sheamus. Now they did have a match back in the day, it was a Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Champion. Now they going against each other again at SummerSlam. I believe it was for the WWE Champion. This is when Sheamus was by Triple H side, I believe, when Randy Orton was babyface. And I liked the match because, you know, I'm a big fan of Sheamus and I'm a fan of Randy Orton as well. So that's one match I liked it, one mini feud I liked it from Randy Orton. Another feud building up the Survivor Series was Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was on Raw, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Randy Orton hits the RKO on Brock Lesnar. And then he run out to the crowd as the Raw superstars came out there to go after him. Now, this was a fun rivalry for what it was. Eventually, at Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar dominated Randy Orton, elbowed him in his face, winning due to a TKO. So that was fun for what it was. I actually liked that as well. It kind of did make Randy look weak, but at the same time, he knew what he was getting into. So yeah. Randy Orton versus the Golden Boy, Seth Rollins and the Authority. Randy Orton just couldn't stand. He just had enough of the Golden Boy, Seth Rollins. He had enough of Seth Rollins being cocky, trying to take advantage of him. And all of a sudden in this picture, he shows him just exploding and hit the RKO on him and took off. You know, it was kind of interesting storyline. You know, I was hyped. You know, I'm a fan of Seth Rollins, but with RKO, when Randy Orton hit the RKO on Seth Rollins, I was like, holy snap, no, he just did. So yeah, it turned into a feud. Randy Orton and Seth Rollins brought the best out of each other, and this was one of the fun feuds I actually enjoyed as well. Now, who cannot say this was one of their favorite feuds? Evolution versus the Shield. Seth Rollins, man, oh man, oh man. I just hate the fact that, well, to be honest, this feud was 100% perfect. It was spotless. It was flawless. Everything about this was good. The only thing I really didn't like about this is that Evolution never got a win over the Shield. Therefore, being said, it was 0-2. Evolution had 0, and the Shield won 2 times over them at Extreme Rules in that payback. I just wish they would have won, you know, some matches to gain some momentum over the Shield, because Evolution was one of the baddest group back in. So especially when I'm a fan of Triple H, the heel authority Triple H, and a huge fan of Batista. I just feel like they should have had one win over them, and the Shield should have had a win over them. But like I said, it is what it is. that is a feud I will never forget with Randy Orton being in. And one of my last favorite feuds for Randy Orton was Randy Orton teaming up with the Wyatt family, eventually turning into Randy Orton versus the Wyatt family. Now, there was a lot of complaints I had about this feud, but it still goes down as one of my favorite feuds that Randy Orton was in. Now, that being said, I feel like Bray Wyatt should have defeated Randy Orton at WrestleMania to retain his WWE champion, or Luke Harper should have won the WWE champion at WrestleMania, because let's not forget that he did beat AJ Styles, but they changed it and kicked him out from being, you know, #1 contender or WWE champion. So that being said, he was just on the sideline just watching when he could have been in a triple threat match against Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, which could have prevented them from having a horrible match. I get it's probably their first time going against each other, but their chemistry was so low. Randy Orton won, and it didn't help Bray Wyatt at all at the end. It didn't help Randy Orton because he had a stale WWE champion reign as well. But yeah, that's one of my favorite feuds. I just feel like Luke Harper was a major part of their storyline that they didn't use. Bray Wyatt losing was a major failure they did with their storyline, but it is what it is. Yeah, so that's just a few favorite feuds that was Randy Orton was involved in that I wanted to let you guys know about. Let's try to not make this video too long. Let's get into the Monday Night Raw, April 26, 2022, post-show review. We kick off with Matt Riddle and every superstar surrounding the ring as Matt Riddle announces, calls out Randy Orton as he goes over his accomplishments. He said he wanted to thank everyone for supporting him and cheering him on. He said he wanted to thank some of those fellas he faced the back end. We got Triple H, Mick Foley, John Cena, and etc. etc. Now, Edge as well. Then he talks about how he's grateful to be there. And then we have Riddle. He said, speaking of old friends, he said, I want to bring out an old friend of yours. And that's when he brings out Cody Rhodes. Now, before I get to that, I did forgot to mention that Randy Orton did say this is the most fun he has ever been in his career, dealing and working with Matt Riddle. But nevertheless, Rollins said after Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton hugged and everything, Rollins said, don't trust him. He's gonna try to steal your spotlight like he stole mine at WrestleMania. He says tonight is not about you, Cody. It's about Randy Orton and his 20 years anniversary, which was in the past. You are not the present. You are not the future, Randy. You are just the past. Ezekiel gets in. He talks about how he's a new superstar. They want to congratulate Randy Orton, introduce themselves. Owens comes out. You know, he got a rage fit. He's tired of Ezekiel. He just tired of Ezekiel lying. And he just going off on Ezekiel, man. He's saying, you filthy, disgusting piece of trash, or why are you lying to these people? Stop lying. You know, he just going off. And then the Usos comes out, and then they say, hey, you remember, do you have a few Randy Orton moments? He said, yes, I do. And then eventually they started talking back and forth. It took about 20 minutes until Adam Pearce came out and announced that it would be an 8-man tag team match. Rollins, KO, Usos versus RK Bro, Cody Rhodes, and Ezekiel. And then all of a sudden, Kevin Owens hits Ezekiel, and then Randy Orton was not going to let that slide. All of a sudden, he hits an RKO to end the segment. Everybody backing away, that he was backing away while looking up on Kevin Owens. Then we get a backstage segment with Bianca Belair talking to Kane as they go to commercial break before the Raw's Women's Championship match. Basically, we get SONYA Deville and Bianca Belair. They going at it. They brawl back and forth. SONYA Deville takes it outside the ring, tries to throw Bianca Belair over the announce table. Bianca Belair reverses and throws her over the announce table. Gets back in the ring, and all of a sudden, the referee counts her out in like 60 seconds. And then SONYA Deville gets a microphone, stops the ring announcer and said, hey, there was some water on the floor or something like that, or she wasn't ready. And she said she's going to restart this match, abusing her power. Then they start brawling again. It kind of got slow. And then she used her braid, and then SONYA Deville gets thrown over to the crowd, and then she gets a chair and hits Bianca Belair with it. The referee calls for the bell. SONYA Deville gets the microphone again and says, hey, she used her braid, which is a weapon. So we're going to restart this match. It's going to be a no DQ, and it's going to be a no count out. So eventually, before they went to commercial break, she calls out Carmella and Queen Zelina. Eventually, Bianca Belair overcomes the odds, taking out Queen Zelina and Carmella, throwing SONYA Deville into the corner wedge of a chair and hitting the KOD for the win. We get a backstage segment with Edge and Damian Priest. They talk about how AJ Styles is guilty and how Judgment Day is coming. And then basically we get a VEER squash match. He puts his submission on, throws him out the ring, taps him some more. Basically slams him on the announce table, but the announce table didn't break. And then he puts his submission hold on the announce table as well. And then he just walks off celebrating his dominance and win. Before we get to the arm wrestling match between OMOS and Bobby Lashley, Lashley had an interview. He said he doesn't trust OMOS and he doesn't trust that backstabbing snake MVP. Now, I don't know whether they was using their real strength or what, but eventually OMOS, he was ahead taking control, but then eventually Bobby Lashley got the win, and he just, he won the arm wrestling match. And one thing I didn't like about this, Bobby Lashley said he didn't trust OMOS and he didn't trust MVP, but as soon as he won, he turned his back on them, celebrating the win. And MVP tried to attack him. Bobby Lashley looked at him, then OMOS took advantage and laid them out. He took him out. He was about to go after him again, but MVP said, wait. He points his cane at the table. He said, squash him. OMOS, he continued squashing Bobby Lashley with the arm wrestle table, and then they walks away with MVP grinning. Even though R-Truth's a comedy gold, I just couldn't get into this feud. This officially sets up a match, a mixed tag team match involving the 24/7 title. Torado, he pins Reggie, then tries to go after Danny Brooke. R-Truth breaks it up and tries to pin Danny Brooke, but Danny Brooke escapes as well. Before I get into this Damian Priest versus Finn Balor match, Carmella and Queen Zelina, they arguing over backstage and who fault was it. And SONYA Deville, she comes out and slaps both of them. Unfortunately, I didn't have a picture for it, but let's just get back to Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Okay, so basically we have Finn Balor versus Damian Priest in a one-on-one match, while Edge is at the stage ramp. Now remember, I said he's at the stage ramp. Damian Priest and Finn Balor has another banger one-on-one match. Eventually, Finn Balor going for his top rope finisher, and Edge from the stage ramp stands up. Now I don't know if Finn Balor got super hearing or what, because he's way back there. Even if he tries to come, that would have still gave him plenty of time to hit his top rope finisher move and went for the pin. But eventually he got distracted, and Damian Priest took advantage and hit his finisher, hit the lights, and He goes up to the stage ramp and gets on one knee while looking at Edge. Then we have a MIZTV segment with the new United States Champion Theory. Now, hold on. Then Becky Lynch, she comes out, and then the first thing she said, she said, I don't know who's Becky Lynch is without the title. She said, dang, I forgot. She said it's been 3 years since she left Raw without, since she lost the champ. I believe she said it was 3 years since she lost it. Yeah, she said, it's been 3 years since I was out on Raw without my championship. She said she don't know who's Becky Lynch is without the championship. Asuka comes out, she starts dancing and, doing her thing, and then Becky Lynch is looking at her. Asuka pokes Becky Lynch's nose, and then Becky Lynch tries to attack Asuka. Asuka counters it, and then she tries to do her spinning heel kick, but Becky Lynch gets out the ring. They play Asuka music as Becky Lynch backing away. Now I did say bring up when she gave her the championship while she was pregnant. Eventually they didn't go that way. I'm not really sure because I missed that segment, to be honest. Okay, so MIZTV, we got the Miz introducing Austin with Theory, and then he said, "It's Theory, is really your name?" Vince McMahon said, yeah, he said Vince McMahon said that's what he wants, and I'm pretty sure that's my name. And basically what he was doing was he was hyping up, Theory, and Theory was hyping up the Miz as well. He said, Miz, you might not know it or not, but you are one of my inspiration. He said he grew up watching him. He's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. He's a main event at WrestleMania. And he said, the Miz is a trailblazer. And he says to everyone, he's going to prove to everyone, he's going to continue to prove why he's the best improvement that Vince invested into. I'm not sure if he said improvement or investment. And then he says he's going to take the championship to the next level, high as it never's been. And out of nowhere, MUSTAFA Ali comes out, and then before he tries to speak, the Miz said, what is you doing here? And then Theory said, ain't you the guy that took your stuff and went home? And then Ali did nothing but laugh. And while the Miz and Theory is laughing, MUSTAFA Ali said, if I wanted to laugh, I would just watch you wrestle, Miz. And then Ali said he heard about the new United States champion. If he was to do an open challenge, he said he would be the first one to step up. And then he asked the crowd cheering on yes. Theory said no. Ali said not surprised, but he said, aren't you supposed to be Vince McMahon protege? While the Miz is talking to Ali, Theory is testing someone's supposed to be Vince McMahon. Then he said, you know what, Miz, you just got a match against him. And then the Miz said, after this match, I will make sure you have your walking papers. So, and then basically the match started. The Miz goes for a figure 4 leg lock, but Ali wins with a roll up. And Tommaso Ciampa comes out and attacks MUSTAFA Ali out of nowhere. Now I don't know what this leading to, but I would have thought they would have did MUSTAFA Ali in Theory, but I'm guessing they holding it off because Theory can't lose and maybe MUSTAFA Ali can't lose as well. So maybe they put him in this little short-term rivalry. William gets a backstage interview. She talks about how she finally opened her eyes and how she always surrounded herself against tag team partners that amount to nothing. She said when she first came here, she won the Raw's Women's Champion. She did it by herself, and she said her partners tried to stoop her low to their level. And then that's when Liv Morgan attacked and they started brawling, and the referees and security holding them back. As you can see, Chad Gable and Otis and Kevin Owens was talking. Then Seth Rollins comes out of nowhere. Chad Gable said this is an A-B conversation, so please see your way out. But Kevin Owens eventually pushes them away. Then Seth Rollins acting like he haven't done anything to him last week, which I found actually hilarious. But then he says we are not cool. And then they talks about Seth Rollins says you my tag team partner. You know, they talking about their match tonight. And then that's when the USOS came. And then we get this little fun 8-man tag team main event. We got RK Bro, we got EZEKIEL and Cody Rhodes versus the USOS, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins. Now, I'm not gonna get into it. As soon as the bell ring, they start brawling all into it, and then we get to the ending where RHODES tries to go for a hot tag, but Rollins puts Randy Orton's foot down, and then they attacks him, and then all of a sudden, Randy Orton tries to go for the DDT on Jey Uso. Jey Uso pulls him from behind, tries to do a back suplex on him. Randy Orton gets the back suplex on him. Seth Rollins tries to jump on him. He hits the back suplex on him. Kevin Owens tries to get him. He hits the back suplex on him as well. And then to break up Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens arguing, Uso said, we got to be on the same page, man. Everybody got to be on the same page. We got to beat RK Bro. We don't want to upset Roman. We don't want to get on Roman's bad side. As the Usos continue to walk away. Now, before we get to the main event, we got to an OMOS interview, and MVP said OMOS has challenged Bobby Lashley if he can show up to WrestleMania Backlash. And then he puts Jey Uso's back in the ring, went for the Hangman DDT, and then basically he started RKOing everybody. He started the RKO Jimmy Uso. Well, technically he RKO'd Seth Rollins because Cody Rhodes hit him with the knee, and then went for RKO. Riddle needed Jimmy Uso, then lift him up for RKO. Jey Uso going off the top rope and hitting the RKO as well. So that basically ended the match with Randy Orton going for the 3 count. End the show of Monday Night Raw, his 20 years anniversary of celebration and working with the WWE. Now, if you guys enjoyed this post show, be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe if you want to see me do more of these. And yeah, Raw was digestible tonight. It wasn't much, but it was okay for what it was.